Okay, The Ultimatum, Season 2, Episodes 3 through 4, 3 and 4. Okay, so, welcome to my casual YouTube channel. My name is Ruth Seneca. I talk anything casual or monumental in relation to life and life's events and life's TV shows. And the TV show that I wanted to talk about, that I have been talking about as of yesterday, is The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On. I'm gonna go through these episodes in like 2-episode increments. So if you want to look back on my channel, you can watch the first video that I did dissecting episodes 1 and 2. It's 2 and 4, or 2 and 4, 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Yeah, so I am very interested by this season. There's a lot more drama, there's a lot more of a serious undertone, I feel like, of this season than last season. Also, just to clarify, I'm talking about the standout moments of this, not summarizing the whole entire thing. So if you are like missing out on like, oh, you should have talked about this, or I don't know, if you have like any critiques for me, just know that I'm a normal person who has a casual YouTube channel talking about things casually. So, like, don't expect the most professional notes taken on this show. It's just me as a normal girl who likes to talk about reality TV shows and what they entail. Anyways, so let's get into my notes. I just wrote down the things that stood out to me so I wouldn't forget to talk about them in the YouTube video. So, upon the opening scene, which is basically Lisa admitting that she's pregnant, which is crazy. This is like kind of a horrible thought. Like, I'm not proud of this thought, but when she was talking about how she was pregnant, I was like, for the first time ever, I was like, for the first time even since knowing about, oh, Lisa's pregnant from the last video, the last episode, I was thinking like, maybe this is faked. And I know that's a horrible thought to have, but like, let's be honest, Lisa was really trying hard to get out of this experiment. She was like, I don't want to be here, and then she saw her partner talking to somebody else who she called the Hooters bitch, and it was like chaos. So in my opinion, I don't think it would be that crazy if Lisa like faked the pregnancy. And I know this is so garbage to say. It's garbage. Like, I'm not proud of this thought, but I also, like, I could not get by without mentioning it. Maybe they're just gonna start, like, trying. And, like, you know, I was gonna mention, like, another show called Glee, where this girl faked her pregnancy, and then, like, she just kept trying until her husband got her pregnant, and, like, like, did all sorts of tactics to, like, keep her husband. It, like, would make sense because she was, like, super frantic. She was really wanting to go, and he wasn't really wanting to go. And, like, what are you gonna do but just be pregnant? You know what I doubt, though. It's, like, a conspiracy theory. It's not, like, a real thought that I have. I mean, no. No, it's not. Okay, so then it goes from, also, what's his name? Brian's face when Lisa was like, I'm pregnant. He's like, ooh. Wow. Because what if he went into that experiment thinking like, I'm just gonna like go in and like tell and like find out what I want with somebody else, and then that'll be my out. Like, what if he was looking for an out and all of a sudden he got his in forever? Like, shoot. I feel bad for Brian because I feel like Lisa, what she showed us is not great. You know, what she showed us is like, oh, that makes sense that he doesn't want to commit to you forever. That tracks. Like, I wouldn't want to commit to her. Anyway, so we go back to the other couples. I said I wasn't going to be summarizing this, and here I am summarizing. It just happens sometimes when I write down a lot of notes. So they make the choice or whatever, which is just individuals like projecting what they see in other potential partners. Like, when they're sitting around, like, they're kind of just lightly dragging their partners. Like, they're kind of like, I think it was, who the heck is it? I think in one of them, Alex is like, I brought this up to my husband who was sitting next to me. Alex was like, you know, Roxanne, like, I've never dated somebody so passionate and driven and intelligent. And I was like, if my husband said that about another individual and I was right there, I'd be like, oh, so you want like intelligence? Like, you don't think I'm like intelligent? Like, the hell? Like, what is going on here? Like, that's so, everybody's kind of lightly dragging each other, being like, you know what, I've never had a partner who's so compassionate, who like cares about me. I've never had a partner say they love me before. Have I ever been in, I don't even, like, you know, you're just like, okay, this is a place where I feel like everybody's just lightly projecting, and it's a little hard to watch, but it's like, we live for this. The cringe is real. But yeah, so then we get the couples that are made, Roxanne and Alex, which I was completely forgetting Roxanne's name last time. I don't know. Rhea and James, which is the most interesting pairing, I feel like. And I feel like we saw that at the end of episode 4, because it's like, this is uncomfortable. Kat and Antonio, just two people that just are very, I feel like, free-spirited and don't really look like they have much thought in their brain at the end of the day. Like, I just don't feel like you could have a critical, intellectual conversation with either of them for very long. And then Ryan and Trey, which honestly, like, surprisingly is, I think, one of my favorite couples, just because I feel like they bring out a lot of vulnerability out of each other. Well, I feel like Trey brings that out of Ryan. I don't know what Trey brings. I don't know what Ryan, wait, I think that Ryan brings that out of Trey. I don't know what Trey brings out of Ryan. You know what I mean? Like, Ryan, I feel like he's just kind of there. Anyway, I am so curious to see how two workaholics work together in a relationship, because I see why potentially Roxanne could be attracted to her original partner Antonio, because he's so laid back, and opposites attract, I guess. Like, you need somebody to balance you out in some way. I get that, but I also do see that you need somebody who has drive, that's passionate, because it's like such a turn on when you're such a workaholic, and you need somebody to kind of like give you energy in that regard. But when it comes to relationships, how the heck are two workaholics gonna make it work and make time for fun and like make memories at all? You know, I don't know. And so far I just haven't seen it. So, and then Trey and Ryan seem to go good together. I think I just said it, but I just think that there's like a softness there. There's like a ease there. Maybe it's because they're both kind of from the same area, which I also love. I said this in the last episode, or the last video. I love the fact that their accents are very similar. I love that. Rhea and James, not so much. I like, they're a little bit uncomfortable to me. Like, I just feel like Rhea and James kind of only like the fact that they both have similar upbringings, and they can bond over that in a way that they've never bonded over it before, like probably as adults with other adults. But other than that, I feel like it just kind of stops there. You know what I mean? Like, what is the attraction? What is the attraction? I don't understand it. And then also, sex has not crossed my mind throughout this. I have not even thought like, oh, what if somebody gets intimate, except for when Brian and Rhea were potentially talking. I was like, they're gonna do it for sure, like immediately. But then when Brian got taken out, I was like, this is like a sexless, boring group that is not going to ever jeopardize their relationship, because I feel like everybody's gonna split up and then get back together. You know, like, it just feels like these original pairings are gonna be fine. But sex did not cross my mind until Alex hinted at it, until Alex and Roxanne were like flirting, which was so interesting, because they flirted like immediately. Right when they got home, Roxanne said, "So have you ever tried anal?" What was that? What the heck was that? That was so weird. That was so weird. And I just like really shocked by it. James being taken away from Ryan, and having a moment on the phone with whoever he's not having a moment on the phone with is exactly what Ryan wants and probably needs to see from somebody she's been in a relationship for 7 years with and has, you know, like, given this ultimatum. Like, that's exactly what I would want from coming off of, for coming into the ultimatum. I want, if I were to come in, I'd want, like, my husband or my ex, if I was in this relationship, if I was in this experiment, to be, like, spiraling. I would want him to be texting me, like, oh my god, I made a mistake, oh my god, I can't wait to be with you. Like, I want him on his knees, on his actual knees, proposal, but on his knees, just to, like, say, oh my god, I've taken you for granted for so long, I actually really love you, you're the best, you know what I mean? So, like, James is really just applying that because he really is showing Ryan that this experiment is, like, technically, like, working, kind of. And then also, I thought when James and Rhea were sitting down talking about foreplay, I was like, oh, like, look at James knowing what foreplay is, because men don't know what foreplay is because they don't typically act on it or educate other people. You know, men just, like, can get going immediately. So I appreciated a man speaking on it, and then a woman being like, I don't really know what that is. You know, like, that was crazy to me. But what I didn't appreciate was he was kind of lightly dragging Trey, being like, come on, Trey, which is, like, weird. You know, it's, like, like, especially if I was Trey, I'd be like, what are you doing speaking on me in your little talk with her? Talk to her. Keep my name out your mouth. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. But yeah. Also, I'm shocked that James even had said that he was attracted to Rhea. I don't know if it was attraction or if it was just lust, because there's a difference. Like, when I feel like when you're lusting after somebody, it's unrealistic. Like, when you lust, like, my husband, technically my husband could lust after me, but that's, like, very much beginning stages things, like fantasy type things. I feel like it's very young love to lust after somebody, or it's forbidden to lust after somebody. So I feel like James's attraction to Rhea was just kind of like a lustful attraction. It wasn't based in anything serious, you know? It just felt like that to me. Let me know if I'm incorrect. But okay, so James also said, kind of, I think while they were in the pool, which is when they were, like, talking about attraction or whatever, he said, I think I'm more excited for the idea of, like, kids than marriage. And I could fully see that. If you are not down to be married, if marriage scares you, especially if you grew up in, like, a single parent household, I could see somebody being more excited for kids, because it's like, kids is something that you can commit to, something that, for the most part, if you, like, it's in your control, and I'm speaking out of my butt, but, like, for the most part, kids is something that you can, like, tend to, and they won't leave you, potentially, and, like, they're there for you when there's something that you dream about, and, like, you can kind of guarantee, if you play your cards right, if you're, like, lucky enough to have them, versus marriages are always up in the air. There are so many different facets of marriage. Not saying there aren't so many facets of, like, children, but when it comes to children, that's, like, a guaranteed, if you put in the effort to be a good parent, for the most part, like, you'll be able to raise a kid successfully. I don't know that for sure. It's kind of like a bold like, kind of a broad generalization. But, like, when it comes to a marriage, so many things could go wrong just by your control or out of your control as well. So I can see why somebody could say that, if they're not focused on marriage. You know what I mean? And I know that Lisa is feeling that too. We all know it. So Antonio, he's the, like, stoner guy who was sitting in the park with what's her name, Kat, and his original partner is Roxanne. Antonio is the most normal person on the show, because I felt like the rant that he went on, being like, I'm not super ambitious, like, for 6 years I was just high, like, I was just high, and that was me from 20 whatever to 20 whatever, and I didn't have a problem with it. I feel like he was the most normal, because of all the people on this show, I feel like that's very honest, and especially I admired his vulnerability in saying, like, you know, if she wants to go on a date, like, sometimes it's not that I don't care. It's like, I am intimidated because I can't just spend like $500 on a date. That's like 35% of my income. That's great income. My paycheck even. That's such realistic talk, because I feel like there's so many high achievers on this show, or so many people who are vague, but I felt like that was a very real conversation, and where he was just like, yo, I can't take you out on a date, I'm just trying to get by. Like, what? Yeah, I just very much appreciated that from him. Also, Antonio, though, to me, like, even though I appreciate him and find him to be a regular guy, I also feel like he seems so much younger than Roxanne. I think they're around, like, the same age. I think there's maybe, like, a year between them. But Antonio just seems like he's in his early 20s with his mindset, you know? Especially in the way that Roxanne describes him. He just seems to be somebody who just kind of, like, chills and is fine with that and doesn't have, like, much ambition or whatever. Which, not everybody needs to have, like, life building, legacy building, like, ambition. Like, you don't need to be, like, a workaholic. You don't need to be, like, so accomplished in your life. But that's why I feel like he's, like, normal. Because I feel like most people are just kind of like, I'm just trying to get by. Like, $500 is 35% of my paycheck. Like, but he does read younger than Roxanne, because Roxanne seems like, maybe not wise beyond her years, but she seems so much more successful and so much more driven in a way that makes her seem older. Even though, like, 30, I feel like might be accurate for what she is, but she also just kind of looks older too. You know what I mean? She looks a little bit older than I feel like the average 30-year-old does. I don't know. But when Roxanne talks to Alex's parents, I feel like was definitely when that was solidified. The idea that, like, oh, you're not excited for marriage even though your parents have a successful marriage, then you're probably just not excited for marriage with Antonio, because you're not excited about him. Like, he doesn't push you to do anything. He doesn't challenge you. You feel like you have to be ultra independent in order to, like, make up for him, you know? I just feel like these two are not good matches, and I hope they break up. I hope they break up. If they don't, I feel like they're going to go back to each other out of security. But yeah, I love it when Kat and Antonio just sit and talk about how they're, like, so, I was gonna say stupid. They're not stupid, okay? That's mean. That's, like, not a accurate descriptor of many people. But I love how they just kind of sit down and they're just like, yo, we're, like, not really at the level of our spouses. You want to just chill? And they kind of just chill. And Kat barely ever, like, says many in touch things. I don't know. I'm not a Kat hater. I'm just kind of like, she's AI. She's AI made for this show. Seriously, she's just filler. Okay. So, Rhea's love languages, I feel like, really showed in the way that, I mean, they were kind of talking about it without fully, like, talking about it, without naming love language. But Rhea was being critical of Rhea was being critical of James on the last scene, being like, yeah, I see you cook and you clean for me, but also, like, you don't touch me, you haven't held my hand, and you haven't hugged me since yesterday. Which I feel like is really unfair, because it's like, Rhea, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? He's cooking and cleaning, and he planned this, like, really nice date by the pool with candles. My man lights one candle a year and says that's it. Like, he would not be lighting a candle just to light a candle to be romantic. That would be so much effort to him. Like, I just feel like Rhea is overly critical and needs to realize that you don't have to be that overly critical to people who are truly putting in their best effort for you. But I feel like it also shows that maybe her love language is just not being filled, not being appealed to. Like, physical touch, I feel like for her goes so far. And so maybe that's what she needs. And she was kind of trying to voice that, but it felt very critical and judgmental. And then James seems to be like an active service type person. And I don't feel like he deserved the heat that Rhea was trying to give to him. Be like, whenever I'm like, here's my trial partner, and I would like a trial marriage that would fulfill every one of my needs. But apparently I'm not getting that. That just felt like, ugh. I don't know. It just felt bad because it was like, it was so critical. But then they start arguing, And Rhea's like, well, you don't give me affection. He's like, well, you don't let me give you affection. You don't. And then James is like, and I've done that before. I've cheated. And we're like, cheated? You cheated? When did you cheat? How long ago was this? How long did that last? Like, cheated? We thought that you were just in this, like, super, like, oh, we've been together since high school, 7 years. I'm just nervous about being financially secure type relationship. No, you cheated. You broke up and you got back together? What? Was that when you were, like, in 10th grade? Or was that, like, 2 years ago? What the heck is going on here? Cheated. I just would like some more details about how he stepped out. I really am very fascinated. And I can see him, like, kind of spiraling due to the fact that Ryan is now in a relationship with somebody else. Because I feel like it's mainly cheaters who be like, yeah, but that's my woman. Like, I can step out. I can. She can't. But it also makes sense that he cheated because, like, he's so... That's why, like, that's why I said, like, he's lusting after her. He's not... I don't feel like he truly likes her because I don't feel like they're really that compatible. Like, sure, they have some things in common. They can talk about them, but they're not compatible. So when he was like, oh, she looks really good. It's like, ugh. I really don't feel like you would mean that long term. Like, I really feel like that's something that you want to act on for now. But, I don't know, it makes sense that he cheated now. But also, like, let me know the details of the cheating. Was it like, you cheated, you slept in another bed? Or was it, oh, in 9th grade, I, like, kissed another girl? Like, you know, I want to know. I just really want to know. And I feel like once I know, or once Netflix knows, we'll all just kind of be, like, caught up as to what that means. And we'll get the tea. Anyways, that's all I have for the Ultimatum episodes 3 and 4. I'm going to be reviewing 4 and 6, and I'll probably put them out the day after this comes out because I'm just trying to, like, really get these out. If you have any opinions about this season, let me know. Comment, like, your favorite couple, or I don't know, comment just, like, something, or give me a like. I really like anything that gives me engagement because I put in some work into these videos, and engagement, likes, and comments do boost up the video and help other people see that I am making them. But yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or night.